It's time to live your stronger life. Hey, I'm Sammy, physio coach and nutritionist, and your hype girl for creating your stronger life. Here, we ditch the quick fixes and build real strength inside and out. So whether you're here to tone up, drop the body fat, build muscle, mental resilience, or ditch the diet culture, or just feel bloody good in your skin, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Alright fam, welcome back. Okay, in this episode, we're going to be talking about something that almost every lady who has been on a weight loss journey has experienced, and I know this because I hear it in my DMs all the bloody time. So let me paint the picture. You've been making amazing progress. You're losing weight, you're feeling better, you're like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing. I'm getting so close to where I wanted to get to. And then you get stuck and you're staring at that last final 5 kilos and you're like, why is this getting so much harder than it was before? Everything just seems to slow down and it just feels like you just can't finish the job. This last 5 kilos just feels impossible. Why is that? Well, let's break it down because you are not going crazy. There are some very valid reasons as to why the last 5 kilos always feels so much harder than the first, 10, 15, 20 kilos that you lost along the way. So I want you to imagine a chocolate box. Imagine you've got this huge box of chocolates, big box of favorites, and I just asked for one. You're not bothered. You got plenty of chocolates left. It's just one little chocky. It's not going to take a big dent out of your whole hoard of chockies. But now imagine that you've only got 2 chocolates left in the box, and I asked for one. Suddenly, it's going to feel like a much bigger deal because losing one now means that we're halving what is left of your chocolate hoard. And that's exactly what's happening with body fat. When you have a larger amount to lose, each kilo doesn't make a big dent. But when you're leaner, every kilo is a bigger percentage of what remains. So let's put some numbers to it. A sustainable rate of fat loss is about 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. However, if you have a lot more to lose, you can get away with going 1% or a little bit more. The leaner you are, the lower end of that spectrum is going to be. So just keep that in mind. It's a rough range, but if you weighed 80 kilos, that's roughly 400 to 800 grams per week would be like a healthy, sustainable range to kind of suggest that you're losing more body fat and not losing too much of your muscle mass. Now, imagine you were 80 kilos to start with, and then you lost 20 kilos, and now you're weighing 60 kilos. So your rate of loss that would be recommended is now 300 to 600 grams per week instead of 400 to 800. See the difference? Progress literally slows down because the percentage of your body weight that you're losing is staying the same, but the absolute number is getting smaller. That's not you failing, that's not your body broken, it's not your metabolism, it's nothing like that. It's just that your expectations need to adjust. Now, that's only part of the story because there are things that are going to go under the hood. There are going to be metabolic adaptations, and there's also going to be habits and activities that you're doing that could be impacting the progress as well. But first of all, I just wanted to make you aware that your rate of loss will slow down because there's just less of you to lose. And if you start pushing it too hard, then you are just going to start losing all your muscle mass, which is the opposite of what we want on a fat loss journey. We want to lose the body fat. We don't want to lose muscle mass. It's really hard to rebuild it, so you're better off just avoiding losing it in the first place. So here is another common error. Your body needs less energy now than it did when you first started your weight loss journey. As you lose weight, your body becomes more efficient. You require fewer calories to function day to day. For example, roughly every 10% of your body weight that you lose, your total daily energy expenditure can drop by about 8 to 15%. And think of it like this. You're carrying an extra 15, 20 kilo backpack around all day long. It takes a lot of effort, right? Imagine if I threw a 20 kilo backpack on you and then said, go climb a set of stairs. That's a lot harder. It's going to take a lot more energy and effort to do the task. Now take that off. That is essentially what you've done when you've lost this 10, 15, 20 kilos. You're naturally going to burn less energy just moving around because it's a lot less intense on your body to move around. So yes, as you get lighter, your calorie needs do decrease. Not a ginormous amount, but it depends on how much weight you have lost, but it does decrease. So that might mean that adjustments are required. So when you were in a calorie deficit, maybe you're no longer in as big of a calorie deficit, therefore your weight loss is going to appear to slow down. Now, here's an important caveat that I do want to mention though. If you have been dieting aggressively for months and months and months and you're on really low calories, the answer is not dropping food down, because that will also just backfire and it's going to make it harder to stick to your diet. It's going to again risk losing all your muscle mass. So just dropping calories down is not always the answer. Sometimes the answer is opposite, and you may need to just come back up to your new maintenance calories, give your body a refresh, a reset, help to reverse any metabolic adaptations that have occurred, and then you can resume a dieting phase, and the calorie deficit will be a little bit different than what you did when you first did a calorie deficit the first time round, and it may be more suitable to do a less aggressive one in your second round of dieting. Okay, here is another potential reason and another sign that you may need to have a diet break. You're fatigued. You're diet fatigued, not just physical, but mentally fatigued as well. So let's be honest. By the time you're chasing that last 5 kilos, you've probably been dieting for quite a long time. Your energies are low, your training performance is dropping, your sleep is not too crash hot, your hunger is high, your consistency is getting harder, and in some cases, if you keep pushing that deficit for too long on too low calories, you're losing muscle, and that's not the goal. So sometimes this is where our bodies just need a maintenance break. A few weeks, sometimes even a few months, just at your maintenance calories, reduce your stress, restore your energy, train hard, build muscle, regulate your hunger and satiety hormones, because when you are dieting quite a while, your leptin and ghrelin, your hunger and satiety hormones, they do start going out the window. They do start going a bit funky. Your body will also start to conserve more energy. These are these metabolic adaptations that I was talking about before. Like your body's going, oh, I don't know when we're going to get enough food. We might as well start slowing you down. Conserve more energy. Try and not expend as much day to day. There's so much going on that's fighting back. Your tracking may get a little bit slacker. You might have a little bit more nibbles and bites here because you're so hungry, but you don't realize that you're doing it. That's your body's way of trying to fight back against this calorie deficit. So if you're starting to get really food focused, if you're really struggling with your energy levels, your training performance is plateauing, you're dragging your ass out of bed, or you're not sleeping through the night, all of these are signs that your body needs a break. It's your body screaming, and you have to listen, because you are going to hit a wall. You are not going to be able to continue on your fat loss journey. And in fact, you're probably going to risk rebounding and regaining all the weight back on and burning yourself out. So it's better to pause, take a break here, and then you can continue that last 5 kilos. And then when you go back into this smaller deficit, you're going to look leaner, tighter, and stronger in the long run as well. So you're also preventing looking skinny fat, which is fabulous. And here's also the bigger picture. Even if you have 5 kilos to lose, if you can't maintain your results at maintenance calories, even with 5 kilos to lose, what's the point? You're just going to regain it all back on again. So doing a maintenance phase before you reach your final destination, there's never really a final destination because progress is always continual, but you need to be able to have maintenance phases along the way to prove to yourself and to your body that we can maintain at this new weight, because the body needs to get used to at this new weight going, hey guys, it's all good. This is normal. Let's calm down. Let's stop sending out all these stress signals, because we can maintain our body at this new fat percentage, and let's eat healthily and get the body stabilized and kind of almost like resetting your set point before diving deeper. And if you can do that in increments and teach your body to maintain at each new increment of body fat percentage, your likelihood of maintaining long term skyrockets. It's just so much easier because you're developing habits to maintain it as well as habits to drop the body fat as needed. And sometimes this final 5 kilos, you don't even need to necessarily go into a hectic deficit to drop the body fat. Sometimes that last little bit of body fat is actually lost by easing out of extreme dieting. You could go through a bit of a reverse diet where you actually still spend some time in a deficit. Not everyone can handle this. It really depends. Like if you're starving, hungry, struggle street, been dieting for a really long time, on really low calories, it might just be better to jump straight up to your maintenance calories, spend some time there and then do a dieting phase. But depending on, it's circumstantial, depending on the person, you may actually benefit from, I've got a couple of kilos left to lose. I need to tighten up a little bit more. I'm really struggling. All right, let's do a little reverse diet. Let's just gradually increase the calories up. You're still in a deficit, but let's start to give you some more food. You're improving your training output. You're tightening up your habits, and you're going to continue to drop that body fat, but you're going to look better because we're building muscle at the same time, because you can actually train and perform better. So often in this little phase between your lowest calories building up to your maintenance calories, in this little magic zone where we're still very much dieting, we're still in that calorie deficit, you do continue to see progress, but we're kind of reversing out of the progress, and then we come into a structured maintenance phase. I personally really do enjoy that kind of journey. And I find ladies really love those results because they still get to prolong their fat loss phase. They're still pushing into their fat loss phase, but they're getting more food, they're getting more energy, they're performing better, and they're slowly adapting to what maintenance calories is going to look like for them. So I find it really helps to regulate their hunger and their appetite signals, and it also supports the digestive system as we slowly increase our food. This is not for everyone. And, a lot of people do better by jumping straight to maintenance. But for some ladies, this is a really beautiful option that just works for them. And my final note is if you're down to that last 5 kilos, more often than not, it's not that you need to lose 5 kilos on the scale. It's that you're actually just looking really like floppy and depleted from being in such a long dieting phase. And often it's not so much about the 5 kilos on the scale, it's about how you're looking. And once you start eating more food, you're filling your muscles up with glycogen, like carbohydrates and water, your muscles are looking bubbly and full again, your training performance is going to improve, you're actually going to be able to build muscle and your body's going to function better. Then you actually look leaner and tighter and stronger and look more like what you want to achieve, even if the scale doesn't necessarily change. So it's often that last 5 kilos is more about how you're looking, and it's your approach needs changing. It's not about going down, and down. So if you are stuck on the last 5 kilos, do not panic. It's not a motivation issue. It's not a willpower. It's not a discipline. It's like physiology is literally happening. You need to adjust your expectations. You need to respect what your body needs at this time. Sometimes it's maintenance. You need to use maintenance strategically if that's actually what your body needs. You definitely need to build more muscle, and you definitely need to accept delayed gratification and play the long game, because that is how you're going to get the best results possible. This last 5 kilos is often not about just losing more weight. It's to live strong, comfortably, and sustainably in your new body. So if this resonated with you, share this with someone who is stuck in that final stretch, or I hope if you are one stuck in that final stretch that this has been helpful for you. And if you do need more help, you know where to find me on Instagram. Message me and we'll take it from there. Have a beautiful day. Thanks so much for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please rate, review, and subscribe. And I'd love if you shared this on your Instagram and tag me Sammy_livestrong. And if you'd like to learn more about my coaching and join the Project Livestrong family, please message me Livestrong on Instagram and I'll see how I can help. I'll see you next time.